Hi everyone and welcome to Priority Holder. And today we'll be playing Kaalia's Angels, Demons, and Dragons in the Explorer format. And you may be asking yourself, why would we want to play that? Well, I have had a lot of fun playing Kaalia Zenith Seeker around the M20 era of Standard. She's a Mardu color 3/3 flying vigilance. And when she enters the battlefield, we get to look at the top 6 and put an angel, a demon, and or a dragon card from among them into our hand. So we could possibly effectively draw 3 cards off her as long as we hit angels, demons, and dragons. And it's just a fun card. So there's been some recent demons and dragons and stuff we've gotten that have helped lower the curve a little bit, because that's honestly the biggest concern, is that all these types of creatures cost a lot of mana. And so one of the ones that help make it work is Immersturm Raider, 2/1 that lets us rummage when it enters the battlefield. So this is a demon, and our other demon is Spawn of Mayhem, which is just another one that I like. Can possibly be cast for 3. So those are all the demons we have. The dragons, split between a few. We have 2 copies of Nadaar, 2 copies of Gadrak, 2 copies of Immersturm Raider, and 1 copy of Atsushi, the Blazing Sky. And our angel package, we have 2 copies of Legion Angel, and then 2 more on the sideboard for them to grab. And 2 Seraph of the Scales. This is like a card I played back when I was using this deck. Liesa, 2 copies of Sephara. So all in all, we have 22 cards that can be hit off Kaalia. And that's a lot. That's a lower number than I would like. Like, it's lower than I'd like for collected company decks and stuff. So maybe we need to crank that up even higher. The rest of the deck is just removal and interaction, just to fill in the lower parts of the curve. But yeah, that's the idea, is to play Kaalia and play angels, demons, and dragons. So let's jump into some games. Okay, looks like a pretty good hand. Happy to see Kaalia and a couple Triomes, so Manus could be alright. Not super happy about turn 1 Llanowar Elves and us being unable to disrupt it, but alright, it's looking pretty grim already. Turn 2, 4/4 from the opponent. And we're just sort of twiddling our thumbs a little bit with our Triomes. We do have some good plays eventually if we don't die. Okay, Werewolf Pack Leader, that's pretty tough. And decide the pressure's getting a little bit too much, so decide to use March of Otherworldly Light, pitching a spare Kaalia, especially because they'll be drawing cards off that werewolf. So, but now we can do what we came here to do and play Kaalia Zenith Seeker and see what we hit. And not bad. We get 1 dragon, 1 angel. That's probably about like a typical kind of hit right there. Questing Beast, that is tough. We can't properly block any of them. Fall to 5, it's looking bleak. And yeah, to cast anything significant, we'd have to shock in our land. So we just play the dragon and just sort of hope, but it's not looking good for us. Yeah, and Primal Might finishes the job. On to the next one. Okay, I have a medium opening hand. Don't have a threat until turn 4, but we have some disruption. Decide not to shock it in just because we don't have many ways to recoup the life. So just do the turn 2 Thoughtseize. And of the things we see, Onicult Anvil is one we can't really easily deal with. So we take that one. And then we'll face the wrath of Tenacious Underdog as a result. But we happen to draw Kaalia, so we just go ahead and run that out, turn 3. See what we hit. Unfortunately, it's 2 angels, so we only get to keep 1. And Liesa is the most castable of these. Happy to, or sad to see the other one go, but at least we got something off Kaalia that time. Alright, so they send in with Underdog. We're not under huge pressure to block it yet, especially because they can recur it from the graveyard. So we send in with Kaalia and now have a more profitable blocker with Seraph of the Scales. Though, honestly, with how much flying pressure we can apply, it's not even clear we want to even block their Tenacious Underdog. But they end up just sacking at the Deadly Dispute anyway. Alright, then run out Voldalian Epicure. And then just go ahead and fire off a Deadly Dispute again. So opponent's really churning through the library, but we're not under a lot of pressure. And they are under a lot of pressure. So yeah, just go ahead and send it with the flyers. Had the opportunity, or the option of activating Vigilance on Seraph of the Scales, but honestly just not worried about attackers from the opponent. So play out the Immersturm Predator, pass. And a little bit of incidental graveyard hate is going to be nice against the opponent with the Predator. So like we do have the option of like sacrificing a creature to regenerate the Predator and then nab their creature in the graveyard. But it just doesn't seem necessary to do that. So here comes Cauldron Familiar. So Cauldron with Oven is a little annoying. Blood type Harvester. So if that was a Mayhem Devil, we'd be sweating a little bit. But the fact they don't have a Mayhem Devil to couple with that makes us not as worried. Then they follow up with Voldalian Epicure. Send it to us, but we just have so much flying power that we start activating Vigilance, and then we send in with everything. Immersturm's going to exile something, get a counter, so we go ahead and hit their Tenacious Underdog. And so opponent can do some cat tricks right now, but it's just not going to do quite enough. So opponent falls to 1, and we just hold. Like I said, there are things they can do, but there's just not enough attacking and not enough cat sacrificing they can do to make everything happen. So they can't take down the Predator with the Blood type Harvester, but even if they take down Seraph of the Scales, it's going to leave behind some 1/1s, which they can't deal with. And they'd seen enough. On to the next one. This hand is a lot more sketchy with all of our expensive spells and not a whole lot of lands to speak of, but we have a Thoughtseize, we have a turn 2 creature that can rummage for us. The opponent just snaps off our Thoughtseize with their Thoughtseize. And seeing Giganta on the other side makes me think sacrifice, but it's not always the case. So we play the Immersturm Raider and pitch Seraph of the Scales and find a 4th land, so that's going to be nice. Oni Cult Anvil. Okay, it looks like a similar matchup as we just faced. And we hit them with our Demon and then run out Kaalia. I've had really good Kaalia luck these games so far, at least as far as drawing it. And yeah, perfect hit. We get an Angel, a Demon, and a Dragon. So just take one of each. So 3 mana, 3/3 Flying Vigilance, draw 3 is exactly what we signed up for when playing this deck. At least what we hope to do. Now, opponent missed a land drop and played another Anvil. So Anvil is great, but it really needs fodder to keep feeding to it. So the fact they don't have anything to like sacrifice to them to get everything going is pretty tough, especially when we're have massive card advantage already. Like everything we've played almost has drawn us a card effectively. So they have Oven. Yeah, and so Oven's not an ideal thing for them to sacrifice. So like they are going to get some 1/1s and start draining, but they're in big trouble. They needed to have things out earlier. Now I'm attacking here even though it's like not the most profitable trade. It's because I'm trying to get rid of their artifact count. I'm trying to deny them things to sacrifice to their anvils. And so the opponent uses Fatal Push with the Revolt trigger to take down our Legion Angel. But we just play out Liesa, just keeping the huge threats coming. Mayhem Devil, that is a problem. But it's too little too late at this point. Like they could take down our Raider, but we don't really care about it, and we get it back anyway because of Liesa. So we just slam in with our Angels. And thankfully Liesa gains us a chunk of life. So now it's just trying to figure out what to play. So we run out Gadrak and then run out another Immersturm Raider. And just trying to seal the deal against them. But that life gain we had was very nice. And yeah, so this is what this deck is trying to do. You can see here we have a bunch of threats out and we still have a full hand of threats. So we're just not scared of like anything the opponent's doing right now. The opponent's in desperation mode, so they're just trying to see how much they can whammy us with a combination of Mayhem Devil and Obnixilis. So Mayhem Devil is especially strong with Obnixilis because it's a devil creature type. So every time they plus Obnixilis, they get the free 2 life gain. So that's pretty nice, but it wasn't enough. On to the next one. So mulligan that first hand. The second one looks a little better. Trying to decide what to put back. Raider's not that impactful a card. It's there mostly for curve reasons and like just to have like another demon to hit. So end up putting the second one back, but we'll see if that comes back to bite us. And a 1/1 first striker is not exactly what we want to see coming down. Alright, so opponent has Luminarch Aspirant and Brutal Cathar. Now, I end up taking Luminarch Aspirant because that just gets out of control and we have no removal. Honestly, maybe should have taken Brutal Cathar. Hard to say there, but I figured Aspirant was going to be a big problem for us. So, I had to pitch something. End up pitching the Predator, but maybe should have pitched Sephara. I don't know if I was just feeling really ambitious about... Yeah, not sure what's going on there. Probably should have pitched the Sephara. My opponent runs out Brutal Cathar and takes away our little demon. So Nadaar is nice. Like that's going to help us eventually, you know, scry into a land or make a treasure token. Okay, so there's a land for Seraph of the Scales. Opponent plays their land in. We're really worried about like Collected Company. Alright, so they just have Aiganjo Channel. But because they didn't cast a spell, they get to transform their werewolf. So it's not feeling too great right here. Go ahead and cast Seraph of the Scales. Back when they had cool animations for everything. Oh, Intrepid Adversaries. Huge blowout. Now I make a gameplay mistake right here. They attack with that, and I'm just not super familiar with the backside of Brutal Cathar and did not realize it had First Strike. I thought it was going to be a nice trade. We got some 1/1s. You could see me doing the shameful reading the card afterwards. So Legion Angel gets us another Angel. So we're at the point now where we're in big trouble, but the optimistic Sephara Skyblade keep earlier, we're so close to being able to cast it for cheap, but you can see the opponent is just powering things out, getting another Brutal Cathar triggered. So right when we thought we'd maybe turn the corner, things just all go downhill. So to take this moment to use March on their Cathar, because we get 2 creatures back for our trouble. And we've already, so we get to grab another Legion Angel copy and then just pitch it away, just desperately searching for a land. Okay, so we do find the land. So if we get to keep if we get to keep our flyers and play another one next turn, we can cast Sephara for its alternate cost. But opponents just like dumping counters. They have Catilda going, they have Adeline, and we're forced to like chump block. We know I'm preserving the flyers, but it's going to be too little too late. Opponent had a very explosive start. Go ahead and play Kaalia and get Liesa, which is too little too late at this point. So we go ahead and cast Sephara. I'm not even sure, like, I'm just, this is very optimistic because it seems like the opponent can basically just kill us. Though we do have 7 points of lifelink, so we might not be like actually dead. But with General Kudro coming down, we're definitely dead. On to the next one. So another tough hand with the mulligan away. And with this hand, it definitely got to put Sephara on the bottom. It's just too far away to cast. But we do have turn 1 Thoughtseize to try and mess up our opponent a little bit. And end up snapping off a Collected Company. But the opponent just has a very, very strong red-green werewolves hand. So they even have a spare Collected Company. So they're just not sweating it at all. Opponent plays a turn 2 Kessig Naturalist. So I did not play a lot of these Innistrad sets, so I'm like not super familiar with these couple sets of cards. So I end up getting whammied pretty hard right here. The opponent shocks in the land, attacks, generates some mana, putting them up to 4. So in my mind, I'm thinking Collected Company, like, oh, they don't really have any lords, but they have a 4-mana lord in hand, so I just walk right into this horrific block right here with the Nightpack Ambusher coming down at instant speed. So that's something I should have caught, and that was a really tough one right there. Though things would have been really good for the opponent either way. They probably just fired off Collected Company on our end step otherwise. They just send in with their wolves, and they're sensing blood in the water at this point. They're ahead. They have really strong creatures. Like, even if we like block down their Anthem Wolf right here, we're still in pretty big trouble. Especially with the being able to grant haste to all to one thing each turn. And we're in desperation mode right here. Yeah, and the Reckless Storm Seeker is able to just... Okay, so we get 1 turn of grace, they don't attack, but as a result they get to flip both of their werewolves into much stronger versions, so we need something good off Kaalia. And we just get 1 Immersturm Predator, which is not going to cut it. We're behind, we don't have enough lands to like deploy everything. And opponent just gets to fire off Collected Company. So opponent has some really nice synergies going on. They have instant speed things like Nightpack and Collected Company to flip their wolves. So on to the next one. Alright, blue-white land. Could be some kind of tempo. Usually it's control. Alright, so they foretell something. There's a number of... There's like the foretell counterspell, the foretell... Doomscar. So we'll have to find out later on. But just run out the Immersturm Raider, pitching the other one. Okay, so opponent just passes, and we drew it. We drew an extra Kaalia, which is really nice. Okay, so we try to Thoughtseize. They use Fateful Absence on our Raider, which we're very happy about. We just don't care much about that creature. Opponent has double Memory Deluge into Teferi Hero Dominaria. End up getting rid of Teferi. And shock in the land so we can draw off the clue right away. Opponent's not going to be pressuring our life total anytime soon, so gets us another land, which is nice. But now, so the opponent has an unknown card foretold and in hand, but decide to shock in the Blood Crypt just in case they have like Censor and play Kaalia. So this is a moment of truth. Like if we can resolve this and pick up some cards, we can get there against control. So we're waiting to see what happens, and nothing. That is an absolutely brutal no hit right there. Like we needed something, anything, just to keep the pressure on them and just to keep up with their card advantage. So that was just the worst possible no hit right there is against control. So that was really rough, especially because we actually snuck one through a counter spell, you know. So they go ahead and use March ahead of our Thoughtseize. They have Fateful Absence, Memory Deluge. Take the Fateful Absence. Maybe should have taken the Memory Deluge. Hard to tell. I was still optimistic about being able to play enough things to close it out. So play a second Kaalia and hit double Angels. So we only get one. Grab Seraph of the Scales. So pretty horrible hits between the two Kaalias we actually were able to resolve against control. So that does not bode well for us. Like I said, if we had just, you know, if we got like a, you know, so there's a Legion Angel, so that's actually pretty nice because that's a source of card advantage and we can keep the threats rolling against them. But decide to roll out Seraph of the Scales, and the question is, do we shock this land in to hold up Vanishing Burst? Decide not to, but not sure if that was correct. So opponent fires off Memory Deluge, and the thing is, we've just given them too much time. They've cast multiple Memory Deluges, and you could see me now flip over to triple speed because we hang in there a while, but like I said, we've given them too much time to set up. They have their mana underneath them now. They have multiple Deluges ready, and they can run out to Fairy with we have like no pressure for it. And so it was just some incredibly unfortunate Kaalia misses earlier in this game that sort of doomed us. I felt like we really had a chance and can beat control with this deck, but not in the cards this time. So Portable Hole, just diminishing our threats. So we just attack with our little lone flyer. We do have a cycling land, so let's just keep fishing. And end up just... So opponent's now at the point where they're flashing back Memory Deluge, so they're looking at 7 cards and grabbing the best 2, so we know they're just getting absolutely perfect answers, so they find another Teferi, and we are out of answers for it, so their Teferi, as far as we could see, is just going to stay, and not only that, but they might have counter spells just to say no to anything we try. And yeah, so it's like, well, we attack Teferi, or attack them, and attempt to play Spawn. And we're just sort of seeing what happens, but it's looking pretty bad for us. Yeah, Doomscar basically seals the deal. Okay, so that's Kaalia's Angels, Demons, and Dragons, and was not the best showing. We had some pretty tough Kaalia hits at times, and just some bad luck. To be fair, though, the deck is fairly clunky, and it could possibly use some refinement to lower the curve. Honestly, I feel like Thoughtseize was not great in this deck. It may be that I feel like we're better served with just a ton more removal in here. And it could be that maybe we need to play some Giadas as well as like for our Angel slots to help lower the curve and possibly ramp things out. So there are some flex spots and a lot of options to try since we have 3 different tribes we're trying to pack inside here. But yeah, it's a really fun strategy. Definitely room to play around with and try and optimize things. But yeah, let me know in the comments if you were to cast Kaalia Zenith Seeker, What would be your ideal angel, demon, and dragon hit off of it? Anyway, thank you so much for watching, and have a wonderful day.